In the distant future, Earth had finally taken its place among the stars. After discovering faster-than-light travel, humanity joined a vast galactic community filled with strange and powerful alien species. For centuries, humans had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they weren't just part of something bigger. They wanted to prove they belonged. William Carter stood at the edge of the observation deck aboard the human flagship Eclipse *. His eyes scanned the endless expanse of space, dotted with glowing stars and distant planets. He was young, eager, and full of dreams. To him, this moment felt like destiny. Humanity wasn't just here to observe, it was here to make an impact. Standing beside him was Laura Bennett, his closest friend and fellow soldier. She shared his excitement, but carried a quieter confidence, always reminding him not to let his emotions run wild. "Do you think we're ready for this?" Laura asked, breaking the silence. Her voice was calm, but there was a hint of concern beneath her words. "Of course," William replied without hesitation. "We've trained for years. We've built ships stronger than anything out there. And most importantly, we've got heart, something those aliens might not understand." Laura chuckled softly. "Heart won't save us if we mess up, Will. This isn't some simulation. These are real battles, real lives on the line." Before William could respond, the ship's intercom crackled to life. "Attention all personnel," came the commanding voice of Admiral Robert Klein. "Report to your stations immediately. We have received intel about a potential threat near Krill territory." The Krill Dominion, a ruthless empire known for its brutal conquests, had been stirring trouble across the galaxy. Rumors spread that they were preparing for war, and the Galactic Council had called for a united front. Humanity, eager to prove itself, volunteered wholeheartedly. For William, this was the chance he'd been waiting for. As he and Laura hurried to their posts, they passed rows of soldiers, technicians, and pilots preparing for action. The energy aboard the Eclipse * was electric, a mix of anticipation and nerves. In the command center, Admiral Klein addressed her crew. "This is our moment," she said firmly. "We will show the galaxy what humans are capable of." Commander Harold Grayson, a seasoned veteran with graying hair and sharp eyes, stood nearby. He didn't share the same enthusiasm as the younger members of the team. "Admiral," he began cautiously, "we need to be careful. The other species have centuries of experience in warfare. Rushing in without fully understanding the stakes could cost us dearly." Klein nodded but remained resolute. "I appreciate your caution, Commander, but hesitation won't win wars. Let's focus on doing our part." William overheard the exchange and felt a surge of determination. He admired Grayson's wisdom but couldn't agree with his caution. Humans hadn't come this far to hold back. They were fighters, survivors. If anyone could turn the tide, it was them. Hours later, the fleet arrived at the designated coordinates. Dozens of alien ships loomed around them, each one representing a different species united under a common cause. William sat in his fighter cockpit, gripping the controls tightly. Through his helmet speakers, he heard Laura's steady breathing over the comms. "Ready when you are," she said. The battle plan was clear. Stick to the strategy laid out by the coalition leaders. But as the first shots rang out and enemy vessels appeared on the horizon, William's instincts took over. Without waiting for orders, he pushed his engines to maximum speed, charging straight toward the enemy. Behind him, chaos erupted. Other human pilots followed suit, abandoning formation and scattering across the battlefield. Laura called out urgently, "Will, fall back. You're ruining the plan." But William didn't listen. All he could think about was proving himself, to his friends, to the galaxy, and to himself. What he didn't realize was that his actions would set off a chain reaction, one that would change humanity's role in the galaxy forever. The battle raged on, a chaotic swirl of laser fire and exploding ships. William's small fighter darted through the chaos, narrowly avoiding blasts from enemy vessels. His heart pounded as he locked onto a Krill cruiser, unleashing a barrage of missiles that tore through its shields. The ship erupted in flames, sending debris spiraling into space. For a moment, William felt invincible. He glanced at his monitor, where Laura's voice crackled over the comms. "Will, get back to formation. You're making things worse," she shouted, her tone sharp with frustration. "I'm fine." William snapped back, his focus entirely on the next target. Around him, other human pilots followed his lead, breaking away from the carefully planned strategy. Their movements were bold but reckless, throwing the entire coalition fleet into disarray. Alien commanders tried to regain control, issuing orders across multiple frequencies, but it was too late. The battlefield had become a free-for-all. From the bridge of the Eclipse *, Admiral Klein watched the scene unfold with growing alarm. "What are they doing?" she muttered under her breath. Commander Grayson stood beside her, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. "I warned you," he said quietly, his voice heavy with regret. "Humans don't know how to fight like this. They act without thinking." Klein clenched her fists but didn't respond. She couldn't deny the truth of his words. The humans' impulsiveness was unraveling everything the coalition had worked for. Still, she refused to give up hope. "Order all units to regroup," she commanded. "We can salvage this." But salvaging the situation proved easier said than done. As William continued his assault, another human pilot, Jake Miller, made a daring move that caught everyone off guard. Ignoring warnings from an alien ally, he flew directly into the path of a Krill dreadnought, firing wildly. His shot struck true, damaging the massive vessel, but not before it unleashed a devastating counterattack. A wave of energy surged outward, obliterating several nearby ships, including one belonging to the Varni, a key ally species. The Varni commander's voice crackled over the shared channel, filled with anger. "This is unacceptable. Your recklessness has cost us dearly." Admiral Klein winced at the accusation. She knew the Varni weren't wrong. Humanity's actions were jeopardizing the entire mission. Back on his fighter, William finally began to realize the consequences of his decisions. He looked around and saw the wreckage of Allied ships scattered across the battlefield. Guilt gnawed at him, but there was no time to dwell on it. The fight wasn't over yet. Laura, meanwhile, struggled to keep her own squad together. "Everyone, fall back," she called out repeatedly, trying to restore order. Some listened, retreating to safer positions, but others remained caught up in the frenzy. One of her teammates, Sarah Dixon, hesitated too long and was hit by enemy fire. Her ship spun out of control before disappearing into the void. "No," Laura screamed, slamming her fist against the console. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she forced herself to stay focused. There would be time to mourn later, if they survived. Despite the chaos, the coalition managed to push the Krill forces back temporarily. The enemy retreated, leaving behind a field of wreckage and drifting bodies. Exhausted and shaken, the surviving ships regrouped. On the Eclipse *, Admiral Klein addressed her crew. "We won this round," she admitted, "but at great cost. Too many lives lost, too many mistakes made." Commander Grayson stepped forward, his expression grim. "The galaxy isn't going to forget this. We've shown them exactly why we shouldn't be trusted." William sat silently in his cockpit, staring at the carnage outside. He thought about Jake's reckless charge, Sarah's death, and the anger in the Varni commander's voice. For the first time, doubt crept into his mind. Had he been wrong to act so boldly? Was humanity truly ready for galactic warfare? As the fleet limped toward a nearby repair station, the weight of what had happened settled over everyone. The humans aboard the Eclipse * felt the stares of their alien allies, some accusing, others pitying. They had wanted to prove themselves, to show the galaxy that humanity could stand shoulder to shoulder with the greatest warriors in the stars. Instead, they had shown something else entirely: unpredictability, impulsiveness, and a dangerous lack of discipline. And deep down, William knew it wouldn't be forgotten anytime soon. Back on the Galactic Council's central station, a massive structure floating in orbit around a neutral planet, representatives from dozens of species gathered to discuss the fallout of the recent battle. The mood was tense, with whispers and murmurs filling the air as delegates took their seats. Samantha Sam Hayes, Earth's top diplomat, walked into the chamber feeling the weight of countless eyes on her. She straightened her posture, trying to project confidence, but inside, she felt anything but calm. The meeting began with a Varney representative stepping forward. His sleek, silver armor gleamed under the chamber lights as he addressed the assembly. The humans acted without regard for strategy or teamwork, he said, his voice cold and sharp. Their recklessness cost us ships, resources, and lives. How can we trust them to fight alongside us when they cannot even follow orders? Murmurs of agreement rippled through the room. Sam clenched her fists beneath the table, forcing herself to stay composed. When it was her turn to speak, she rose slowly, her gaze steady. "We made mistakes," she admitted, her voice clear and firm. "But humanity is still learning. We are new to this galaxy, new to these kinds of battles. Give us time, and we will improve." A Zentari delegate, a tall, insect-like being with shimmering wings, chimed in. "Time is a luxury we do not have. The Krill Dominion grows stronger every day. If your people cannot adapt quickly, then perhaps you should step aside and let those who are ready handle a fight." Sam swallowed hard but didn't back down. Stepping aside isn't the answer. Humanity wants to contribute. We want to help protect this galaxy, just like everyone else here. But I understand your concerns, and I promise we will address them. Despite her efforts, the criticism continued. Species after species voiced their frustrations, painting humanity as unpredictable and dangerous. Some even suggested that Earth's involvement in the war effort be suspended entirely. By the end of the session, Sam left the chamber feeling drained. The message was clear. Humanity's reputation was hanging by a thread. Meanwhile, aboard the Eclipse Asterisk, William struggled to come to terms with what had happened. He replayed the battle in his mind over and over, reliving every decision, every moment of chaos. Laura tried to console him during one of their rare breaks. "It wasn't all your fault, Will," she said gently. "Everyone played a part in what went wrong." "But I started it," William replied, his voice heavy with guilt. "I charged ahead, and everyone followed me. Look at what that got us. Ships destroyed, lives lost. And now the whole galaxy thinks we're a bunch of reckless fools." Laura placed a hand on his shoulder. "You can't change what happened, but you can learn from it. Next time, we'll do better. All of us." Her words offered some comfort, but William couldn't shake the feeling that humanity had failed. As days passed, news of the Council's disapproval reached the fleet. Morale plummeted among the human crew. Conversations became quieter, laughter less frequent. Even Admiral Klein seemed subdued, spending long hours in meetings with coalition leaders, trying to smooth things over. Commander Grayson, however, wasn't surprised. He approached William one evening as the young pilot stared out at the stars. "I warned you," Grayson said simply. "War isn't about glory or proving yourself. It's about discipline and working together. You can't win by acting alone." William nodded, avoiding the older man's gaze. "I get it now," he muttered. "But what do we do? Everyone hates us." Grayson sighed, leaning against the railing beside him. "We earned their trust back. One step at a time. That's all we can do." As the fleet prepared for its next mission, the humans worked harder than ever to follow orders and stick to the plan. But the shadow of doubt lingered over them, both from their allies and within themselves. They had wanted to show the galaxy their strength, but instead they had revealed their flaws. And deep down, William wondered if humanity would ever truly belong in galactic warfare, or if their place would always be on the sidelines. The next mission came sooner than anyone expected. The Coalition was tasked with defending a critical supply route that the Krill Dominion had been targeting. If the Krill succeeded in cutting off this route, it would cripple the Allied war effort. Admiral Klein called a meeting aboard the Eclipse to go over the plan. "This is our chance to prove ourselves," she said firmly, looking at her crew. "We will follow orders to the letter. No heroics, no reckless moves. Do you understand?" William nodded along with the others, his jaw tight. He knew what was at stake. After the last battle, humanity's place in the war hung by a thread. One more mistake, and they might be kicked out of the coalition entirely. But as much as he wanted to follow orders, William couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was expected of him. Something bold. When the fleet arrived at the supply route, the tension was thick. Dozens of ships formed a protective perimeter around cargo vessels carrying vital resources. For hours, nothing happened. Then, suddenly, alarms blared. Krill ships emerged from hyperspace, their sleek, menacing forms glinting in the light of a nearby star. "Stay in formation," Admiral Klein commanded over the comms. "Hold your positions." The human pilots obeyed, for a moment. But when the first wave of Krill fighters swooped in, firing relentlessly, panic began to creep in. William watched as one of the cargo ships took heavy damage. Its shields flickered and failed, leaving it vulnerable. Without thinking, he broke away from his position. "Will, what are you doing?" Laura shouted over the comms. "I'm going to take out that cruiser," William replied, his voice determined. "If I can disable it, we'll have a better chance." "Negative. You're disobeying direct orders," Admiral Klein barked. "Return to formation immediately." But William ignored her. He pushed his fighter to maximum speed, weaving through enemy fire as he closed in on the Krill cruiser. His heart raced as he lined up his shot. With a burst of missiles, he struck the cruiser's engines, crippling it. Cheers erupted from some of the human pilots who had witnessed the daring move. However, the victory was short-lived. The disabled cruiser triggered an automated self-destruct sequence, sending a massive shockwave rippling outward. Before anyone could react, the blast engulfed two nearby alien ships, destroying them instantly. Chaos erupted across the battlefield. Enemy forces regrouped and launched a devastating counterattack. Coalition ships scrambled to defend themselves, but the damage was done. On the bridge of the Eclipse, Admiral Klein slammed her fist against the console. "What have you done?" she growled, glaring at William's signal on the monitor. The ban on humanity's participation in galactic warfare hit Earth hard. News of the decision spread quickly, sparking outrage and protests across the planet. Some people defended William Carter and the other pilots, calling them heroes who had acted out of bravery. Others blamed them for ruining humanity's chance to prove itself. William became a symbol of everything that had gone wrong, a figure both praised and condemned. Back home, he struggled to adjust to life after the war. The weight of what had happened followed him everywhere. Laura tried to help, staying by his side as much as she could, but even her support couldn't ease the guilt gnawing at him. "It wasn't just you, Will," she reminded him one evening as they sat together in a quiet park. "We all made mistakes. Humanity isn't perfect. We're still learning." "I know," William muttered, staring at the ground. "But knowing doesn't make it any easier. People died because of me. Good people." Laura didn't have an answer for that. She wished she did, but some wounds ran too deep for words to heal. Meanwhile, Samantha Hayes worked tirelessly to repair humanity's damaged reputation. As Earth's top diplomat, she focused on rebuilding trust with the alien species who now viewed humans with suspicion. It wasn't easy. Many council members refused to even meet with her, dismissing Earth as reckless and untrustworthy. But Sam refused to give up. She traveled between planets, attending meetings and negotiations, determined to show that humanity wasn't defined solely by its failures. At the same time, Earth's leaders shifted their focus inward. If they couldn't fight alongside the coalition, they would find another way to contribute. Scientists and engineers poured their energy into developing new technologies. innovations that could benefit not only humanity but also their alien allies. They created advanced medical devices capable of healing injuries faster than ever before. They designed sustainable energy systems that could power entire colonies without harming the environment. Slowly but surely, these efforts began to change how some species viewed Earth. William found purpose in mentoring young recruits, teaching them the lessons he had learned the hard way. In training sessions, he emphasized discipline, teamwork, and the importance of following orders. Being brave isn't enough, he told them during one session. You have to think about the bigger picture. Every action has consequences, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Despite this progress, whispers about humanity's nature lingered. Even among Earth's own population, debates rage. Were humans truly ready to stand alongside more experienced species? Or was their volatile temperament a permanent flaw? One day, Commander Grayson visited William at the training facility. The older man carried a folder filled with reports and charts. "I've been reviewing the data from our last missions," he said, handing it over. "There's something you should see." William flipped through the pages, frowning. The reports showed patterns in human behavior during combat, moments of brilliance overshadowed by impulsive decisions. "What am I supposed to do with this?" he asked. "Learn from it," Grayson replied. "Understand why we failed so we don't repeat the same mistakes. That's how we grow." As months passed, humanity's role in the galaxy began to shift. While banned from warfare, Earth earned recognition for its contributions to science and diplomacy. Alien leaders started acknowledging that humans brought something unique to the table: creativity, innovation, and an unyielding desire to improve. Though they remained excluded from battles, their value in other areas became undeniable. For William, watching this transformation gave him a glimmer of hope. Humanity might never be perfect, but maybe perfection wasn't the goal. Maybe the real challenge was finding a way to balance strength with wisdom, and earning respect not through force, but through character. Years passed, and humanity continued to focus on building bridges rather than waging wars. Earth's scientists and engineers became known across the galaxy for their groundbreaking innovations. Their advanced medical treatments saved countless lives, including those of alien species who had once viewed humans with distrust. Sustainable energy systems developed by Earth were adopted by colonies struggling with resource shortages, improving living conditions for millions. Slowly but surely, humanity began to carve out a new role in the galactic community, not as warriors, but as problem solvers. William Carter spent much of his time mentoring the next generation of pilots. Though humanity was banned from warfare, he believed it was important to prepare them for the future. "Discipline is key," he often said during training sessions. "You can be brave and still think before you act." His lessons carried the weight of experience, earned through mistakes that had cost lives. The young recruits respected him, even if they didn't fully understand the burden he carried. Laura Bennett stayed by his side, working alongside Earth's diplomatic corps to strengthen ties with alien species. She traveled frequently, meeting with leaders and sharing stories of humanity's progress. Her calm demeanor and genuine curiosity about other cultures helped break down barriers. Over time, she noticed a shift in how humans were perceived. Once seen as reckless and unpredictable, they were now viewed as resourceful and adaptable. Samantha Hayes played a crucial role in this transformation. As Earth's top diplomat, she worked tirelessly to rebuild trust with the Galactic Council. Her efforts paid off when several species agreed to collaborate with humanity on joint projects. These partnerships led to breakthroughs that benefited everyone, further proving Earth's worth. Sam's persistence earned her respect among alien leaders, many of whom began to see her as a voice of reason. Despite these advances, not everyone was convinced. Some alien species remained wary of humans, fearing their volatile nature. Debates raged within the Galactic Council chambers about whether humanity could ever truly overcome its flaws. Commander Grayson, now retired, often reflected on this tension. "Humans are like fire," he told William during one of their conversations. "Powerful and useful, but dangerous if not controlled. William nodded, understanding the analogy. He had spent years grappling with the same question. Could humanity learn to harness its potential without causing harm? The answer wasn't simple, but he believed it was possible. One day, news arrived that changed everything. The Krill Dominion, weakened by internal conflicts exacerbated by Earth's technological contributions, began to collapse. Without their usual aggression driving them forward, the Krill fractured into smaller factions, each vying for power. The coalition forces, no longer needing to fight a united enemy, turned their attention to maintaining peace. For humanity, this marked a turning point. The ban on their participation in warfare remained in place, but their contributions to ending the conflict were undeniable. Alien leaders acknowledged Earth's role in destabilizing the Krill without firing a single shot. It was a victory unlike any other, one achieved through ingenuity and cooperation rather than force. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted. People cheered in streets, illuminated by holographic displays of Earth's achievements. For the first time in years, humanity felt a sense of pride, not because they had proven themselves in battle, but because they had found another way to make a difference. William watched the festivities from a quiet rooftop, Laura standing beside him. "We did it," she said softly, her eyes shining with emotion. "Not the way I imagined," William replied, smiling faintly. "But maybe this is better." As fireworks lit up the night sky, William thought about how far humanity had come and how much farther they still had to go. They might never be perfect, but perhaps that wasn't the goal. Perhaps the real challenge was learning to grow, adapt, and find their place in a vast and complex universe. And for now, that was enough. Years after the fall of the Krill Dominion, peace finally settled across the galaxy. The coalition forces disbanded their wartime fleets, focusing instead on rebuilding and fostering cooperation among species. Humanity, once viewed with suspicion and distrust, now stood as a testament to the power of adaptation and humility. Though banned from warfare, Earth had found its place, not through brute strength, but through innovation, diplomacy, and a willingness to learn. William Carter, now older and wiser, walked along the quiet streets of his hometown. The scars of the past still lingered in his mind, but they no longer weighed him down. He had spent years teaching young recruits about discipline and teamwork, instilling in them the lessons he had learned the hard way. Many of those recruits had gone on to serve humanity in peaceful roles, working alongside alien partners on joint projects that strengthened ties between species. Laura Bennett remained by his side, her calm presence a constant source of support. Together, they often attended ceremonies honoring Earth's contributions to the galaxy. At one such event, held in a grand hall aboard a neutral space station, representatives from dozens of species gathered to celebrate unity. Samantha Hayes, now a respected figure in galactic politics, delivered a speech that brought tears to many eyes. "We are not defined by our mistakes," she said, her voice steady and clear. "We are defined by how we rise above them. Humanity has shown that even when we stumble, we can find a way to make amends and move forward." The crowd erupted in applause, and for the first time in years, William felt a deep sense of pride. Not just in himself, but in all of humanity. They had come so far since those early days of reckless ambition. They had faced judgment, criticism, and failure, yet they had persevered. Later that evening, as the celebrations continued, William stepped onto a balcony overlooking the stars. Laura joined him moments later, handing him a cup of warm tea. "Do you think we finally earned their trust?" she asked, her tone light but curious. "I think we're getting there," William replied, gazing at the endless expanse of space. "It's not about being perfect. It's about showing that we're willing to try, to listen, to learn, and to grow." In the years that followed, Earth signed a historic treaty granting it full membership in the Galactic Council. However, strict limitations were placed on its military capabilities, ensuring that humanity would never again act recklessly in combat. Instead, Earth became known as a mediator, an innovator, and an explorer, a species that sought to build bridges rather than destroy them. Commander Grayson, now frail with age, visited William one last time before passing away. "You did good, kid," he said, his voice filled with quiet pride. "You proved that humans aren't just fighters. You showed them what we're really capable of." As the sun set over Earth, casting a golden glow across the planet, William reflected on their journey. Humanity wasn't perfect. They never had been, but they had found a way to belong. They had learned that true strength wasn't about domination or conquest. It was about understanding, cooperation, and the courage to change. Looking up at the night sky, William felt a sense of hope. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries waiting to be uncovered. Humanity might have started as outsiders, but they had earned their place among the stars. And though challenges lay ahead, William knew they were ready to face them together.